So effect of oily fatty meal. So what happens is when you eat a fatty meal, the body works extra hard in order to digest it because it's extremely fatty. It's nothing natural about it. And then immediate effect on the blood vessels. So what happens is the fat content rises up. So immediately the blood vessels and everything, they kind of like it becomes sluggish because you try to add a little bit of fat or oil to your water and see what happens. It becomes leaky. It becomes the flow and everything slows down. So that's how it becomes sluggish. So blood vessels again contract, and then the body works extra hard to remove this lipid, the fats that are in the body, in the bloodstream, and then the cholesterol and everything jumps up. So frequent consistent oily diet builds up heart disease in the form of cholesterol plaques, and then they progress and much more thrombus and obstructions, heart attacks and strokes happen. So always focus on low fat meals. Low fat, we need fats for the body, but not as much as we are told to be eating. Okay, and also they have to be from whole foods rather than from refined foods. So that's the way you can improve this blood flow, so it becomes like a pristine river again, and then it improves the function of the blood vessels. That's the endothelial lining in the blood vessels, and then there are no plaques or no obstructions and no heart attacks happening. So always our focus has to be on a low fat meal from whole foods. That's the best way to maintain the flow of the blood. Next slide. So endothelium. So just now we talked about endothelium. That's nothing but you have blood vessels. The inner lining of the blood vessel is called the endothelium. It's the largest endocrine organ. It has so many functions of its own. You see what I'm saying, right? Whenever it's always watching the sluggishness of the blood flow, and whenever the blood flow becomes sluggish, it starts to auto-regulate. Otherwise, organs don't receive enough amount of blood flow properly, and then they don't function well. So anything that involves peripheral vascular disease, that's blockages in the legs, any stroke, heart disease, diabetes, insulin resistance, all these things are involved because of this endothelial disturbances. Endothelium always keeps sensing the levels of toxemia, levels of sluggishness in the blood. That's how it functions. It auto-regulates itself. Otherwise, we can't function without proper endothelial function. Next slide. So how do oils and fats impact? So endothelium, so the toxemia builds up, and then there is sluggishness, and then the endothelial cells are totally disturbed. They are vacuomed. So this leads to inflammation, as well as layers of plaques are built up, and then that's how we have layers of plaques are built up. So as a plaque goes on building up, what happens is there is obstruction that leads to strokes and heart attacks. So arteries are the ones that get narrowed. So again, sluggishness, toxic levels are high. That's why all these plaques and everything built up, and endothelial function is disturbed. Next slide. So how do oils impact chemicals in food? So they are chemicals, so they build up toxins in the body. Oils are they are immediately, as soon as we eat, they are either lining up the gut lining, or they are absorbed into the body, and then thickens the blood, impairing blood circulation and burdening the heart. So again, toxemia builds up with high fat diets. Next slide. Conclusion: include always oils in the form of whole foods. So nuts and seeds, whole nuts and seeds that are well soaked are the best way to add fats and lipids to our food, to the food groups. And then avoid refined oils, trans fats, and all the kinds of processed foods that we have available in the form of oil junk. So include whole nuts and seeds, reduce your refined oil. So I hope I got this point correct. So we're going to address more in the Q&A session if you want us to talk more about oils. Okay, next slide. So some hacks for oil-free cooking: like meal plan for a few days without any oil. It's easy to do it. It's easy to do it, and then you can use cold pressed oil in the transition stage. Again, Nagi has been asking, how about cold pressed oil? Again, it's the same concept. See, cold pressed oils too. The reason why cold pressed oil became popular is because of their stability, and they don't become as rancid as the refined oil, and we don't use the chemical extraction process. But still, is it natural? Like, if it's natural, nature would have left it on trees in the form of cold pressed oil rather than packing them in the form of a coconut with everything, with all the fiber and all the fat and everything put together. So in the transition period, it's fine to use cold pressed oil, but any kind of oil we cannot digest beyond 3 ml. That's somebody from naturopathy told me this, and this has stuck to me for a while. So anything much more than that, body can't really do much about it, and it forms an oil sleek. The oil sleek itself inhibits the proper functioning of your gut. So use little bit of cold pressed oils in tadka during transition period, but we always try to do dry tadka, and then at the end I tend to add any kind of peanut powder or peanuts, well soaked peanut paste or coconut grated or any of them. That gives the entire amount of fats that we need for the day, and I'm not worried about adding any kind of oil to our cooking. So we're going to be training you on oil-free cooking during when you're in WhatsApp. So I keep posting, and people can ask us questions how we do this, or we try to show them how we can bake without oil. So we're going to be helping you for oil-free cooking.